from a leadership perspective, I think it's important. So my second question is this: from not being a leader, from being one of the people who are working on in the space, an employee or contractor or an intern or whatever. What is this? What's this concept? What is this concept important for them? This why concept. Start with why. What is it? What's the relevance do you think it is for a non-leader in an organization? And I would argue that everybody's a leader in some way. But let's just
Well, I guess we can differentiate that. Well, one, yes, everybody in the organization's a leader at some point, and that's important to recognize and be respectful of. I think, but there's formal leadership and informal leadership, right? And so I think what you're trying to get at is if you're in an informal leadership position where you are an employee, you don't have a title necessarily, and for the most part, you're following the directives of people above you in the hierarchy. I think it's I think people get frustrated if they don't have a why. That why question's not answered, and people will fill it in, right? If in a vacuum, people will try to make sense of the world as best as they can. In broader culture, we call these conspiracy theories. In an organization, we might call it gossip. People will make up stories to kind of build a narrative about the world that they're working in. And they'll take little bits to make sense of it and piece them together to make a narrative that sometimes, if you're in a different position and have different knowledge, you might hear it and go, what? What are these people thinking? That might be a sign that you failed to answer the why question or are failing to communicate to people. And so I think you have to go in and, as a leader, help people make sense of the why. And also, and that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be bringing the why to them from an authoritarian point of view, right? You can be pulling the why out of them and letting the why emerge amongst the community of people you're working with.
I like that.
And that's probably going to be more effective and more sustainable in the long run, and probably more true to reality. And it's going to be a stickier thing because people are going to automatically have buy-in to it. So it's going to stick to them, and it's going to, change the color of the water that they're swimming in.
Yeah.
Hopefully not the yellow.
Yeah.
We don't want the yellow water
in
that fish tank.
That makes sense to me. And, and there's that other vantage point, and we've had this discussion for me, a lot of the times, my effort is to align the why of first discover the why, because oftentimes corporations, companies, organizations, they really either don't know or don't communicate their whys very well. So I have to dig oftentimes. And then the second part is, where does that align with the why of our customer? Why do they care? Why are they caring about whatever it is that we're doing? Are we generating a market that people are going to discover and go, oh my goodness, I didn't realize I need that. For example, the iPhone, a Simon Sinek favorite example. Or are we improving upon something people already know that they need to get from point A to point B? You know what? Hey, that horse, that's great. You got to feed it. You got to clean up the poop. Here's a car. All you got to do is put gas in it. So. Identification of why, I think, is a steel thread that connects from the leadership of an organization and their idea of a business all the way down to when someone is engaging with that product or idea or that service. And I think really that's the connection tissue.